Isaiah's just looking for somebody to give him some encouragement. I don't know that it's going to come. I think the consensus certainly is that he needs to come back and develop, and I think he would get a lot more time at point, even with Fox here. I don't think Fox is going to play the number of minutes that Ulis did, so Isaiah would get some time at the point and mainly get time to become a better shooter and a better defender and things that will certainly help him on his NBA quest. But we'll see how that one plays out. Football picked up a key commitment from a junior college defensive tackle, Phil Hoskins, who had looked at offers from Mississippi State, Oklahoma State, and Baylor, among others. And finally, some good news for Matthew Mitchell in the women's program with the signing of Jada Roper, a point guard from Memphis. Heard her on the local show here in the Lexington market yesterday, and she sounds very excited about coming here, and just what you want at this time with all the negative vibes that have been around the program, to have somebody really upbeat about coming in and joining your program. And that gives them now an extra player, 7 for the upcoming season. On the Triple Crown Trail, our coverage this spring brought to you again by Claiborne Farm, doing the usual, unusually well for 100 years. We'll have a rematch in the Belmont Stakes between Derby winner Nyquist and Preakness winner Exaggerator. And I was excited to see that news yesterday because it would have been a real downer if one of the two didn't show up. But now we get the grudge match in the Belmont Stakes. Exaggerator, I think, has demonstrated through these two races. I think he's right there on par with Nyquist. The thing is, Exaggerator's running style makes him much more prone to things like the pace and the trip than Nyquist is. So over time, his record's probably not going to be as good because of circumstances. But I think Exaggerator has shown it wasn't just the sloppy track. He's right there on Nyquist's level. So got a fast track, 1.5 miles. Get the showdown in the Belmont Stakes. Mario Gutierrez taking some heat from some for the ride on Nyquist, having him out there so fast early. I think it's a little unfair because he was really doomed from the start, really back to the post position draw. You had a speed horse on the inside that was committed to going to the lead, and you had speed to the outside. So I think the strategy from the Nyquist camp was to try to outbreak the field, get to the front, and then slow up and if you could. And they couldn't outbreak Uncle Lino, and it got into a really fast first quarter that certainly had to take a toll on Nyquist. But if he takes back, you risk getting put down in a box, getting a lot of mud in the horse's face down on the inside. And he was just in a very, the jockey, the whole team, in a tough situation. So really, Nyquist ran a heck of a race, I thought. Again, Triple Crown coverage brought to you by Claiborne Farm. Going to get to a break. Ken Spencer from WHAS-TV coming up when we return here on the Leach Report Radio Network.
Since 1894, Ameriprise Financial has worked for their clients' futures, helping millions of Americans retire on their terms. Today, Cardinal Point Financial Group, a private wealth advisory practice.
Kyle Busch leads, coming to the checkers.
Thanks for calling Tire Box.
Yeah, I'm shopping around. Just talked to Tire Discounters.
What a bunch of goodies.
Hey, they gave me a free alignment with 4 new tires.
And lemon drops and moonbeams?
No, lifetime rotation and balancing, even if I only buy 1 tire.
Ooh, it's like a fairy tale.
Plus, I'll get an instant $70 off any set of Cooper tires.
So why call me? Just go to Candyland.
All the usual goodies, plus $70 instant off any set of Cooper tires, now till the end of May.
Kyle Busch leads, coming to the checkers.
At Kentucky Speedway, the best love it, others fear it.
His third win of the year coming at Kentucky.
A win here reveals a pedigree for greatness.
Busch is going to win at Kentucky.
Champions win here. Don't miss the Quaker State 400 presented by Advance Auto Parts July 9th. For tickets, call 859-578-2300 or visit KentuckySpeedway.com.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. A country we were at war with a half-century ago, the U.S. will now help arm. President Obama announcing a big change in Vietnam. Fox's Alistair Wanklin is live in Hanoi.
He announced the lifting of a ban on weapons sales. He said that's outdated, a vestige of the Cold War.
The United States is fully lifting the ban on the sale of military equipment to Vietnam that has been in place for some 50 years.
The president said the U.S. will deepen defense cooperation, including outfitting Vietnam's Coast Guard and preparing for humanitarian disasters. He said port visits by U.S. warships are likely to continue. President Obama speaking here in Hanoi, he also commented on the death of the Taliban commander in a U.S. drone strike, saying that reflects America's resolve against its enemies. Dave?
Alistair, American firepower is also helping Iraqis try to take back a city from ISIS. Fox's Jessica Gallagher live in our Middle East Bureau.
Dave, the U.S. is aiding Iraqi forces in their attempt to retake Fallujah from ISIS. Washington is advising Iraqis at 2 operation centers, in addition to providing airstrikes. The commander of the Fallujah operation says the first phase is to surround and bomb ISIS positions, but it's unclear how long it will take to retake the city that ISIS has held since 2014. It's estimated there are anywhere between 500 and 1,000 ISIS fighters in Fallujah. Dave?
Jessica, could be a tense time in Baltimore later this morning. A judge expected to read his verdict at Edward Nero's trial. He's the second officer to be tried in the Freddie Gray death in police custody that led to riots in the city. Nero is facing misdemeanor charges of assault, misconduct, and reckless endangerment. They're mourning a slain police officer in Massachusetts.
He was Ron, vintage Ron. Great sense of humor. You know, the kind of guy you want to go out and have a good time with.
Auburn officer Ronald Tarantino was shot at a traffic stop early yesterday. Later in the day, police hunted down his killer, found him hiding in a closet in a duplex. And Jorge Zambrano was killed in a police shootout that left a state trooper wounded. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Get your news fix with Gordon Deal tomorrow morning 5 to 8.
Baltimore, but I was watching it. I was kind of laid up, buddy. I've got a recent calf injury. Suffered in a basketball incident. So I was laid up, elevated with a little ice, watching it the whole time.
Oh my goodness. Well, you gonna be able to make it back for the playoffs?
Yeah, we're gonna try.
Well, we'll start with some basketball. I mentioned a tweet from Jeff Goodman a little while ago that came out that Marcus Lee, according to their sources, is still contemplating the draft and hadn't made up his mind, says could go either way. You surprised he hasn't made a decision yet?
Yes and no. The facts, the facts that tell you that, he should definitely come back to school. Because I really, truly feel this. I think he has 2 options. I think his options are, you come back for your senior season and really dedicate yourself to getting better. To being, he was trying to do things, Tom, at the Combine, jump hooks and, kind of moves like that you're like, what's he doing? That's not his game. But, he's trying to, expand his game. He made those comments that those are in his game. Well, they really aren't. But you have to really dedicate yourself to being an energy guy, to being a rebounder, a defender, a shot blocker. Because even if you watch these NBA playoffs, there are spots for people that do things like that. Because, and a lot of times in the NBA game, there's a lot of superstars on teams. I mean, Cleveland has 3. Golden State has 2 with a bunch of other really, really good role players around them. But, if you play your role really, really well, there's going to be a spot for you. So I think that's what, he probably should do. I think the other option is I think he can probably go overseas and make a nice living. But I don't think the NBA is an option for him right now.
You make a good point about what he did at the Combine, which leads me to think that he's maybe getting some bad advice from somebody or multiple somebodies, because I remember I did a few games subbing for Ralph back in 2000 when he had a throat issue, and Sam Bowie was working with Sam at the time, and Jamal McGlure was playing for Kentucky, and Jamal was trying to occasionally step out and shoot the 15-footer and show the scouts that he could do that, which he couldn't. That wasn't his game. And I remember Sam telling him, big man, you cost yourself $1 million every time you take that shot. Don't showcase what you do poorly. Showcase what you do best. And he said Horace Grant, he used the example at that time of Horace Grant with the Bulls, made a living of being a rebounder and a long NBA career.
And if you look at McGlure's career, McGlure had a long NBA career.
Yeah, he took the advice and found out what he did best and stayed in that box.
Yeah, and there's always going to be room when you have guys like Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and those kind of guys, and Kevin Durant. There's always going to be room for an energy guy that defends, blocks shots, and rebounds, and is really good. I mean, I was saying this the other day. I was talking to somebody because somebody asked me about it. I said, every time that I cut, a video of Marcus Lee highlights, to talk about him if he's in the news or in a story or anything like that, anytime that I ever do that, it's always because Tyler Ulis has thrown him an alley-oop. Like every time I cut highlights. I mean, and there's nothing wrong with that. You need somebody else to set you up because he has the ability to go get the ball, and he could go do that. And like I said, I think that, he's got a couple options here. He probably, I would imagine he really, really, I mean, the reason why he's so torn, I think he really, really wants to stay in the draft. But, I think sometimes you have to make the best decision for you, and sometimes that best decision is coming back for another year, or like I said, just dedicating yourself to maybe going overseas and making a good living there, because I know he can make a good living over there.
I would think the best thing that Marcus could have done before the Combine and maybe even now is put in the tape of the Michigan game in the Elite Eight of 2014. Willie Cauley-Stein had gotten hurt, and they were going to need to use Marcus. And his mission, which he executed superbly that day, was go out and just dunk everything. And that's your job. Don't do anything else. It's just when the ball gets to the rim, go try to stuff it back in. And he did. And made the all-regional team, and played a key role in a big game. And if he had gone to the Combine with just that mission, I'm going to dunk in every missed shot, I think he'd probably fare a lot better.
And the thing about it is, I think with Lee is people look at it and say, some people will look at it and say, well, he didn't have a very good year. Well, I sometimes don't agree with that. I kind of say it wasn't that he was bad; he was just inconsistent. You know what I mean? Like he just, he didn't bring it every single night. The things that you do well, I think, and if you bring that every single night, and Willie Cauley-Stein, I think, said it a year ago, effort and energy, that can be an everyday thing. You may not make shots, you may struggle at different times doing certain things, but effort and energy are something that you can have every single day. And, I think if he taps into that and finds that consistency level there, I think that he could come back and you can have a really, really, really big season because, just judging, even though I've never really seen him play in person, I would imagine Bam Adebayo is gonna require a lot of attention from people.
So it opens up avenues to get to the basket.
Absolutely.
His shots. Talk with Ken Spencer from WHAS 11. We're coming up on 24 after the top of the hour. One good thing about getting back home from Baltimore is getting back to my own bed. The Sleep Outfitters adjustable base mattress that we got a few months ago from Sleep Outfitters store in the Woodhill Center here in Lexington. And you can go to Sleep Outfitters now and get yourself a new bed. It's 6 years, no interest financing. The Queen Sealy Pillow Top with gel foam is only $499. You get a free 19-inch TV or upgrade to a king from a queen for the same low price. Always dreamed of sleeping on a Tempur-Pedic? Get a $400 Visa prepaid gift card on adjustable bases. Select adjustable bases and Tempur-Pedic Breeze mattresses. That's the one we have. Free delivery, same day delivery and setup, and the official sleep provider of UK Athletics. That is Sleep Outfitters, proudly owned by UK grad Kim Knopf. We will be right back with more from Ken Spencer on the Leach Report Radio Network.
This Tom Leach Report is being brought to you by the Oxmoor Auto Group, Kentucky's #1 dealer for Toyota, Ford, Mazda, Hyundai, and Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram trucks.
Hi, folks. Jeff Kennedy with HKC.
Now, a year in rock spotlight. 1975.
In September, the Isley Brothers have a #1 album, The Heat Is On, driven by the #4 single, Fight the Power. Alive is a 2-record live album that goes to #9 for Kiss. They released the single Rock and Roll All Night, which goes to #12. David Bowie switches to Philly Soul on the LP Young Americans, featuring the #1 single Fame, which was co-written by John Lennon. UK rock band Foghat have a top 20 hit with Slow Ride from the album Fool for the City. In October of '75, Pink Floyd released their follow-up to Dark Side of the Moon. Wish You Were Here goes to #1 in the US and the UK.
What have we found? Same old fears. Wish you were here.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more from 1975. Coming up.
iHeartRadio. The simple, free download that brings your favorite stations right to your smartphone or iPad without interference.
I can see clearly now.
In the App Store or online at WLAP.com.
You know, I'm so glad I found you. I heart you.
The ultimate cheap date.
I do. I heart you. Do you heart me?
The free iHeartRadio app.
Why do I think you heart my phone and my iPad more?
Download the iHeartRadio app now at WLAP.com. America's anchorman, Rush Limbaugh, is coming up.
WHAS 11 in Louisville. Adam Zagoria tweets that Isaiah Briscoe's working out today for the Timberwolves, and then will work out for the Atlanta Hawks. What's your take on what decision he makes, Kent?
Yeah, I mean, I think that if just my personal opinion, I think when you stay in it this long, I think if you get some kind of guarantee, you're